Hey, did you guys know since the COVID crisis started in January until end of June, this survey was done where it showed that 40% of American adults were struggling with mental and substance abuse thoughts and crisis. 40%. That's just little less than half of our population. And this statistic is alarming. That just shows that we have public health crisis here. And not only 40% of Americans struggle with the thoughts and of mental health or depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and substance abuse problem, 13% of adults started or increased substance abuse. Now that is also concerning. So the statistic is grim, but needs to be addressed, and there is hope out there, and there are ways to decrease the impact of this mental health crisis that we all are going through because of the COVID. And to help me out, brainstorm and give me some hope and give me some tools, I'm welcoming back my friend. In fact, I should say I'm recalling Mr. Kevin Johnson here, who is a social worker and deals with this crisis, I'm sure, on a daily basis. So Kevin, welcome back to Ask Nutritionist Deepa, and tell us that when you have a statistic of mental health so grim, what do we do?
Well, thank you, Deepa, for having me back on your show. It's a privilege and an honor, and I do appreciate it. Yeah, when you look at it from that perspective, it does looks grim, and the numbers are very high, particularly around mental health. And I think it's important that when you talk about mental health, that you give people, I think that for me, I didn't have the skills. I didn't understand mental health. I didn't know what mental health was, and I did not have the skills. And luckily, I was blessed to kind of work in social service, social work profession. And it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things that were going on, a lot of skills that I did not have. I remember that I used to be depressed through high school and in college, but I never knew what depression was. Yes. I never knew the definition. I never knew the symptoms. So when I got into this field and I started understanding the depression signs and the symptoms, then I realized that that there were ways to combat it and ways that you can do, things that you can do to kind of help yourself during this crisis. And one thing that I did realize was that it takes more strength to ask for help than not to ask for help. And the thing of suffering in silence is the worst thing that you can do as an individual, is suffer in silence. So asking for help, I would say, will be the biggest thing that you can do if you're going through some difficult times emotionally.
That is a really great advice, because right now we are in the state of isolation, especially younger population, because this article also mentioned that the most affected group was between ages of 18 and 24. Okay, so we have this young population which is hooked onto their iPhone, so they are a little bit socially isolated. I mean, they are connected through the technology, but not the traditional way of mingling. A lot of these students are not going to the colleges or universities. They are studying from home. So there is that issue of, lack of socializing with others. So there may not be somebody else kind of identifying the signs and symptoms. And as you are saying, they are probably truly suffering on their own, more so now than before. So if a person like this is completely in a dark point right now, your advice of just do a post on Facebook. This is where you can use Facebook and social media in your favor, and just say, I'm having a bad moment. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
And I truly, truly believe there are more good people than bad people in this world. More people are out there to help, and this person will get a lot of positive thoughts, ideas, strategies to get out of that little moment or a funk that he or she is stuck in. So reaching out is very, very important.
Yeah, it's crucial. It's crucial to really reach out to somebody. But if you're really in a really bad funk where you're thinking about hurting yourself, or you just stuck where you're on the couch, don't want to leave the house, then my first thing would be to go and talk to your primary care physician or go and talk to a doctor, because they really can give you an answer and kind of diagnose you and then set up a treatment plan for you that's best for you to kind of put you on that path. But if you
Yes.
don't want to do that, and that's why I love your show and love you so well, Deepa, is because I see your shows on Facebook as well. Like you said, Facebook, I think it all depends, because I agree with you. I think there are more great people out in this world than there are bad people in this world. And so that's why I appreciate your show, because your show is positive. It's It's giving people resources, and it's giving people information on a good way, in a positive way. And I think that you have to use social media in that way. The other thing is that you have to connect with people. And I think it's so important. I think the last time I talked on your show is we was talking, get those toxic people out your life and kind of surround yourself with positive people, people that's going to love you, look after you, and care for you. I think that's really, really important. And in this age where it's easy to text, where it's easy to send instant messages instead of picking up the phone and call, I think it's much more personal if you call and you talk on the phone instead of in person and just texting to send messages, so they can hear your voice and so they can kind of pitch you and you can really talk and have conversation. One of the worst things you could do is hold it inside. That suffering and silence holding inside. And a lot of times it's good just to get it out and vent and have that person you can vent and get those things out to. So I think that's important.
Absolutely. And September is a suicide prevention month, and that is what actually triggered me to talk about it. I didn't realize at the beginning of the September this was a suicide prevention month. But then I saw your interview with this mother who is suffering currently because of she lost her child to suicide, and 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 it really broke my heart. And I said, I have to do my part. I have to
Yeah.
add my voice to what you guys are doing. And again, reaching out is so important, even if it's a
Mm-hmm.
stranger that you admire. you know um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's the first step. And say, hey,
Yeah.
direct me, guide me, especially the younger generation. We all get stuck in this, oh my god, what if I reach out, will I be looked upon as weak? And I want to make a special call out there to men
Mm-hmm.
who are even harder to
Mm-hmm.
to reach, and they don't reach out
Mm-hmm.
for help. And I mean, more than anybody, men, not only men of color,
Mm-hmm.
um, Hispanic, African Americans, because there
Mm-hmm.
is that social stigma and
Mm-hmm.
over judging themselves as to,
Mm-hmm.
coming across as weak. I think not asking for help is a sign of weakness, I would say.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And that's kind of like how we were raised, where you don't ask for help. Men don't ask for help. You don't show weaknesses. You don't show the soft side. You don't want to seem like, because if you show on the soft side, you're seen like as a woman. You're seen as weak. And it wasn't until I started working in the social work field, when I still work with people in recovery, particularly men, and I realized how big a fallacy that is, and how not asking for help honestly can kill you, because there is somebody that you can't connect with and that you can have a connection with, that you can kind of help each other and pull each other out. And so that's been my thing as well. It's like, kind of reaching out and helping and talking to them and getting them to understand that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. And that's something that you need, because we all kind of need that. And also, it's really a deeper, a holistic picture. It's not just your mental health, but it's about what you put in your body. It's about what you think. It's about, I mean, it's a real holistic picture that you got to take, and it's really changing your thinking and changing your mind. And I've heard you talk about self-care. I mean, this is really self-care. The whole holistic picture and how you see yourself and what you're doing with your life.
Absolutely. Because I remember what really struck me about your story is that there was one person at your workplace who said something positive to you, and that changed your life. The Kevin that we see today is because that one person, one sentence, one moment made that change. So you never know who is waiting for you around the corner to make that positive impact. And this whole idea of self-care, I mean, I wake up in the morning talking about self-care for myself, for everybody else, and I say, guys, please, self-care, because it just makes us better people. You know, you're a better mom, father, worker, volunteer, what have you. So and you touched upon what you put in your body, right? The mental health crisis, including suicidal thoughts, are high in people who are nutritionally deficient. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Their diets are poor. For me, I tell young people all the time, fast food equals slow brain and slow body. Okay. It has a complete opposite effect on our systems, right? So nutritionally, just drinking water, dehydrated brain things so strangely or weirdly, I cannot tell you. I have had patients, or I have been in encounters where a patient has been waiting with a in the waiting room, has had a history of mental health issues, depression, anxiety, panic, and then something triggers him to do something, or somebody else says something to him, and complete blowout. Police are called, and I have diffused the situation by giving the person glass of water and piece of fruit, and telling the police, everybody please first drink glass of water and then let's talk. And just by drinking glass of water, that person has changed his demeanor in just like 180. You know, that's when I realized
That is so.
don't drink water.
Yeah, that is so true, because I'm not a water drinker. I'm not a water drinker. I drink Coke and I drink coffee. But I remember that in the process, and I was a person that, and also I know you're a nutritionist, so I'm gonna let you speak on this, but I was a person that didn't eat breakfast. I did not eat breakfast. Breakfast was not something I ate. And so as I began to start self-caring, they was like, that's the worst thing you can do is not eat breakfast. Worst thing you can do. And so, and everything I read, it was about first thing in the morning, drink a bottle of water. Just get up and drink a bottle of water, and and so now it's routine for me now to get up and just drink a bottle of water, drink a glass of water or whatever. And then when my breakfast time came, it was a donut or bagel or something. It was like, no, don't eat that. Eat something nutritional. And it was something simple that you can find in the stores. And like I said, it didn't have to be a big meal. And I can honestly say that it make a big difference in my mornings. It make a big difference in my morning on how I feel and how I feel inside. Instead of feeling bloated and lethargic and not wanting to go to work and not wanting to do anything, it does make a difference in how in my mental state.
Absolutely. Dehydration is a huge issue. I also feel, or I was bit saddened by the statistics that 13% of the population started or increase their intake of substances, and have been, there's a substance abuse um, uh, onset here, which is really sad. I mean,
Yeah.
if, and that is something people should monitor. And obviously these statistics fits right into the what is being happening, where the junk food sales and the sales of alcohol has skyrocketed. Skyrocketed. That is a warning sign for us as a community, that during pandemic, what have we done for to ourselves? Became alcoholic and drug users. I mean, that's really alarming, and I really want people who are watching to take a moment and really think about not only you as a person, but what is happening around us, and become mindful.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's very true. And the thing about that is that I learned that in working with people in recovery is that that's like a coping skill. You know, food comforts you, alcohol comforts you, and so you use it as a coping skill because you haven't been taught anything else. So that's
Yeah.
why your shows are very important, because it's teaching people different ways of dealing with some things that are going on inside of them instead of eating junk food. Because junk food is very accessible. You know, you just grab chips, grab
Yeah.
candy, grab a donut, and you're on your way. And so, and I think that for me, it's a process. I had to, like take the bottle of water and put it next to my keys. So that way I'm like, okay, I got to drink a bottle of water. And then it became routine for me to drink the bottle of water. And I think that people are using alcohol and drugs to kind of deal with a lot of issues that are going on inside of them, some pain or maybe some trauma. And that's how they kind of deal with those issues. And so, like you said, nutrition and mental health, they kind of go hand in hand. Because when you're feeling your best and you're doing your best, then you want to eat well. And sometimes when you're down or you're feeling bad or you're feeling sad, then it's so easy, like you said, to go to a fast food restaurant. I don't feel like cooking, or I don't feel like doing this. And also the perception that eating nutritionally is expensive. Eating nutritionally takes a lot of money or time, to cook it and prepare. And I was seeing some of your shows where you make some really quick, easy, nutritional things that doesn't take a long time to make, and it's easy to prepare.
Absolutely. And I mean, worst case scenario, go get a banana, which
Yeah,
cost probably 10 cents. Okay,
yeah,
go get apple. Okay, so you don't have to go after fancy superfoods, which are sold in Whole Foods. No, 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 no. Whole Foods are growing in our garden. Okay, get yourself involved in a community garden. If you have
hmm
food insecurity, get your look for a food pantry. And now more and more food pantries are becoming aware of
yeah,
nutritional side of the food, and if you request, they will try to provide you with more produce and more vegetables. Okay.
hmm
I work with Charity Blooms is an organization, and they grow, I mean, we grow vegetables through the community garden, and that community
hmm
garden, whatever we grow, we donate it to Murray Wilkinson's food pantry in Aurora. And then I usually give out a recipe using the vegetables that are
hmm
being grown,
hmm
and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of these things are happening. We just need to find, whoever is suffering needs to reach out to one person who they think
hmm
has resource, and that one person will have will know five other people like Kevin. There will be so many Kevins out there, so
hmm
many Deepas out there who are
yeah,
here to help.
right.
You know,
Right, right.
uh,
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And because I think that, your healthy mind, healthy body, healthy spirit, and healthy foods, I think all those goes together, and that's part of you know, self-care. And so when I tell people, that, there's some things that you can do for yourself. Like like you can go for a walk, or you can go read a book, or you can write. Like you said, you can contact friends and talk to them. You and your friend can go for a walk. These are things that help me. And one of the things that I do is that after 6 o'clock, I don't look at the news at all. I don't look at any news. I don't look at nothing CNN. I don't do any of that deeper. So, you know, I will go for a walk. I'll talk to a friend, or I'll watch comedy shows, because I think that, you know, because the news is depressing. The news is depressing, and they talk about bad things that's happening. And when you go to bed like that, you know, that can affect your sleep and then affect you getting up in the morning. But if you go to bed happy and feeling good, or laughing, or feeling joyous, then it kind of help you with your morning as well. And another thing that I have read, or I try to do, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really good at it, is that, you know, don't eat after 6 o'clock.
Sure.
So that's one of the things I do, because, you know, it takes your body long, you know, when you full and you go lay down and go to bed. You can talk about how that affects you, because I don't know, but I know that they said don't eat after 6 o'clock, or they tell you, like, if you do, like, eat nuts or eat fruits or eat vegetables, if you're gonna eat after 6 o'clock, something that's healthy, things like that. So I do it, but I don't do it all the time. So but I definitely could see the difference when I do.
Correct. And that's what this is. It's about becoming mindful, you know. So my parting shot is going to be about make simple changes to your diet, or nutritionally take care of yourself, so that your brain and your body will be fueled properly. So even, let's say you are staying in an area where you don't have access to big grocery store. Food deserts are an issue for African American population and Hispanic population, but there are convenience stores, and I have noticed that convenience stores now definitely carry water. They carry bananas, they carry apples. I've seen them carrying carrots. I've seen them carrying celery and hummus and those type of things. I've seen them carrying nuts, pumpkin seed, sunflower seed, dried fruits. So even if we stick to these 5 things that I just mentioned, versus Cheetos and God knows Doritos and, you know, Jelly Ranchers, your brain is going to still feel so much better, you know. So
and let me ask you this question. This is for me, and I'm pretty sure it's for everybody. I'm trying, if there was, say, like, you know, change is hard when you try to make a holistic change. So some people need to make one change at a time. So if there was a meal that you felt that, what would be the most important meal that you would say, okay, Kevin, on tomorrow, I would prefer that breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, that this is what you eat, and this is the one that you change on a daily basis, just to start it.
Okay, so my recommendation would be, your first meal needs to be around, you know, whatever that meal is, the first meal, and I hope that shouldn't be like around lunchtime, a little bit earlier in a day. That first meal needs to be with complex carbohydrates like oatmeal. Okay, just simple oatmeal with banana and just few nuts and glass of water, and off you go. Because you are starting on a right foot, you are starting on a right tone, and that meal is going to make a huge difference as to how you feel.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I do eat oatmeal. Well, I eat it in the morning, a cup of oatmeal. I don't put sugar in it, but I don't put sugar in it. And I do put like little fruits and stuff in there, but that is the meal that I start my day off with a cup of oatmeal.
That's perfect. Or the other option would be piece of whole wheat toast with natural peanut butter and banana and peanut butter, banana and few peanuts, you know. Anything that you think is close to the nature in terms of where it's coming from. It could be banana, it could be apple, it could be frozen berries, anything that sounds and looks and know is closer to whole food. Okay, and I'm not talking about whole food as a store. I'm talking about whole foods as natural food. You know, compared to donut and a cookie and cinnamon bun and Captain Crunch and all those things.
And my advice would be that if you're in a dump or you're not feeling good, to please reach out to somebody. And you had a great suggestion. If you're not afraid, just put it on Facebook. You know, hey, I'm not feeling this way. Does anybody have any advice? Somebody that I could talk to, or reach out to me, because I think that's really, really important, that you reach out to somebody. I didn't know how important talking was, but then I realized that sometimes people just need people to talk to and people to vent and have some place to go. So that would be my biggest thing, is that to find somebody if you can.
Absolutely, great advice, because talking will definitely give you direction, but it will also
Mm-hmm.
help you find your purpose, and it gives you hope.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at me right now. When I started the episode, I was researching about the topic. I was feeling kind of grim about, oh my God, what is going
Mm-hmm.
on? 40% of American, that's a large number, who is going through the mental health crisis. But just talking to you, I feel, oh my goodness, it's not
Yeah.
that bad. There are people to talk to and reach out to. So again, everyone, please reach out to right people. Of course, there are helplines out there, to suicide prevention helpline, and behavior health like anxiety, depression helplines are out
Yes.
there. But talk to your doctor, uh, talk to the social workers like Kevin. You can talk to the dietitian like me. You don't have to be our patients, any of that stuff, and just
No.
say, hey, on Facebook, I saw you guys, and this is how I'm feeling. Both of us, and there are many of us, I know my colleagues, we can all chip in. We will give you our 2 cents of advice, but that might be the most important advice that you will receive, and will make a turn. So on that note, Kevin, I thank you for coming back on the show. I know you are going to be a regular, because there's so many things that are common.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
thank you everyone for listening to Ask Nutritionist Deepa.
And thank you for having me on your show. I truly appreciate it. I really do.
You're welcome. But before I let you go, Kevin, you recently started uh, a YouTube channel or something else. What is going on? Please tell us what your most current
Okay, yeah,
venture
I
is.
started a YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel is around mental health wellness, and it's about self care. So
Mm.
what I want to do is do a series of videos that talk about the issues that we're talking about, like depression, anxiety, how negative people bring you down, how to let go, and the things that make you better, the self care, and framing it in a sense that it's not about being selfish, but it's about taking care of yourself. And like I said before, holistically, not just in one area, like the holistic self, like, with weight loss or mental or cognitive and spiritual and food wise. And so that's why I felt that this show was definitely necessary, to kind of reach out and help people as much as I can, and kind of give them concrete steps like you do. I want
Yes.
them to have concrete steps that they can do at home. They ain't got to go buy a book. They ain't got to go buy this, but they can just do it right at home, different things to start that process of self-care.
Okay. And what's your YouTube channel address?
Actually, my YouTube channel address is under my name, Kevin James Jackson.
Okay.
I don't have the thing, because like I said, I'm not good with social media, so I'm still trying to figure it out. But what I can do, Deepa, is I can send it to you, and if you want to
Yes.
put it on your Facebook, I'll be more than appreciative of that
Yes.
as well.
Definitely, we'll add it to this episode, so that people can listen to you, share your episode to others who might benefit from it. But again, thank you for everything that you do. Um, Thank you,
And
audience,
thank
for
you.
listening in. Please share this information, and I cannot thank each one of you for being in my life. That is what makes me going. This is my purpose. I have found my purpose. So having others
So
part
did
of
I.
it,
So
just
did
very
I.
exciting. Okay, Kevin. So long, and I will see you